Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my movie vlog. My name is John Campia, and this is my review for the brand new Guillermo del Toro movie, The Shape of Water. I'm not quite sure what The Shape of Water is, but it's a damn good movie, I'll tell you that. There, I just spoiled the lead for it. I love this film. I really enjoy this movie. We're going to talk about it a little bit here. Now, I'm actually doing this little video live because what I found is quite often when I do movie reviews, sometimes people will then ask questions of things I didn't cover in the review. So I thought, you know what? Why not do this live and let you guys ask me questions that you have about the movie once I give my little bit of a review for it. So we're going to do that in just a second. But for right now, let's get into the movie. The Shape of Water follows the character played by Sally Hawkins, whose name is Elisa in the film. Now, it's kind of really funny and odd for me because this is the same woman who played the mom in Paddington. Such a wholesome, great little fun movie and fun character. And let me tell you something, folks. The Shape of Water is not a family film. No way, no how. It is not a family film. And I remember when I was watching one preview for it, it said, the following movie contains graphic sexuality and nudity. I'm like, wait, what? This movie's going to have that? I mean, surely it's just going to be rated R because it's going to have some, like, really creepy graphic stuff. It is Guillermo del Toro, right? And it's going to have some violence and whatever, but I didn't think that in. Yep, it does. Just be prepared when you go in to watch The Shape of Water. There's nudity and some graphic sexuality and things like that in there too, which I thought just added to the film, to be honest with you. But just give you a heads up. Again, though, it was kind of jarring for me at first, thinking, but this is the mom from Paddington. Come on. But no, really, she is absolutely magnificent. Anyway, Elisa plays a mute woman. She's not deaf, but so she's mute, so she communicates in sign language. And she works in janitorial service at this government facility. And at night, she goes in and cleans up. Now, as you saw in the trailers, what happens is this one government starts to hold, or this government agency starts to hold this creature that they found in their facility. And of course, the creature, no, contrary to popular belief, even though it is played by Doug Jones, it is not Abe Sapien, so who is also played by Doug Jones in another Guillermo del Toro film. But this facility starts to house this creature that they have come across and discovered. And of course, Sally Hawkins, as you can see in the trailer, starts to befriend the creature. Now, also starring in the film, playing our bad guy, is General Zod himself, Michael Shannon, who is spectacular in this film. Along with them, of course, we also have Octavia Spencer, who plays Elisa's best friend at work. She's fantastic. And the absolutely unbelievable Richard Jenkins, who is in this film, plays her kind of her best friend and the only person in the world she's really, really close to. They live in adjoining apartments, and he's kind of her confidant and she to him. And I'm telling you right now, if I had to vote today, I would vote for Richard Jenkins to get an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor for this movie. He was wonderful in it. Sally Hawkins is going to end up getting a Best Actress nomination at the Academy Awards. She just is, and she absolutely should. If she doesn't, it's a bit of a snub. If she doesn't get an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress in this. Absolutely. Now, you would think by watching the trailers as well, and I'm not going to give any spoilers in this thing here, you would think by watching the trailers that this movie is exclusively about, you know, it's kind of a monster movie. It's a little bit of a Pan's Labyrinth thing where now she's going to break out the monster and blah, blah, blah. But really, the beautiful thing about this movie is that there is so much more to it. There is so much heart and so much meaning in everything Guillermo del Toro does in this film that, to me, really at its heart, when you're looking at the characters played by both Sally and Richard and even Octavia and even our villain, Michael Shannon, when you really look at this film, what this movie is really about is about loneliness and about belonging and finding your place, preferably with somebody. And that kind of theme is echoed through each individual character in the movie and expressed in a different way by each individual character in the movie. To the point that I was falling in love with this story. It's so much so that the creature that IMDb just refers to as Amphibian Man, that the creature in the film almost doesn't even have to be a creature. It could have just been another guy kind of filling that role. But Guillermo del Toro uses him as a creature to kind of tell this tale from a fairy tale perspective. You know what I mean? It has great cadence. It has a great pace. It has a great 2 or 3 little side storylines that run throughout with various characters in the film as well. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, it's about Elisa, this mute girl, finding her place in the weirdest of places, this amphibian man, this creature that they have and that they're holding in the government facility. And again, all of that you see in the trailers, but it's done so well, with such heart and such care and such precision in the hands of Guillermo del Toro. I've heard some people say that they believe that this is del Toro's best film since Pan's Labyrinth. I would actually put this on par with Pan's Labyrinth. Now, though that's really high praise, because Pan's Labyrinth is just crazy good, but I would honestly put this movie on the same level as Pan's Labyrinth. Just because it goes so much more beyond just what you see on the surface and what you think the movie's about just from the trailers, and goes into a real human movie about human experience and human emotion that I just found myself completely enthralled with this movie right from the get-go. Now, I got a few other things to say about this movie, but I also want to know if you guys have any specific questions that don't go into spoiler detail. But if you've got any specific questions about the movie or specific observations about the movie, you can communicate those to me right now in one of two ways. And I'll take them from both. Number one, you can hop on Super Chat. Obviously, I get to every single Super Chat. Number two, you can jump on Twitter and tweet to me at John Campia. Just jump on Twitter and fire off a tweet to me at John Campia and let me know if you have any specific questions about this movie. And I'll spend the next 10 minutes or so taking questions, continuing to talk about this film. So go ahead and start sending those out to me now. Now, again, I want to talk about a couple of the performances here, and I'll go back to Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon, I've always kind of said that one of the best villains, or the best kind of villain, you can ever have in one of these movies are the villains who do not see themselves as villains, but rather villains who, the most dangerous of them, are the ones who see themselves as the good guy. And Michael Shannon is definitely one of these types of villains. He thinks he's the good guy. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He thinks he's doing the good thing. And ultimately, that's what makes him the most diabolical and the most dangerous of any kind of cinematic villain. He sees himself as the good guy. And at times, the way Del Toro shapes this movie, there are even moments in this film, and this is what makes Del Toro so brilliant. There are moments in this film where you actually find yourself sympathizing a little bit with the Michael Shannon character. Again, I'm not going to talk about how or why, because that would be spoilers, but there are times that you find yourself sympathizing with him, which only adds to the impact that his character plays in the story. It's so brilliantly done on that level, like absolutely brilliantly done on that level, and you're swept up in all of it. Okay, listen, we've got questions coming in about it, so let me switch over to those now. I'm going to start off with this one from Alex Gerber. Let's see. Alex writes, each individual element was okay, but it didn't come together for me. However, this movie wasn't my first time getting to give my cinema score. You know what? I'm not totally surprised to hear that, Alex, because just like Pan's Labyrinth was a movie that I thought was absolutely breathtakingly brilliant. But that movie wasn't for everybody. And since I'm seeing a lot of similarities, not that this movie's a copycat of that other movie, but just thematically, because I see a lot of similarities between this film and Pan's Labyrinth, it's not going to surprise me at all that this movie also will not be for everybody. It's not going to be for everybody. Not everybody is going to get this film. It's not that if you don't like this film that means you don't get it. Not at all. But what it does mean is that I think this movie isn't going to touch everybody the same way that Pan's Labyrinth did. I don't think this movie is going to impact everybody the same way. Just like Pan's Labyrinth didn't for everybody, I don't expect this will be for everybody too. And if it doesn't strike you the right way, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. All film is subjective. But for me, it worked damn well. Like, it worked damn well. Okay, next one comes to us from Sam Fisher. And Sam Fisher writes, I love this movie. I think it's Del Toro's best movie since Pan's Labyrinth. I call Doug Jones the Andy Serkis of practical creatures. And yet Doug Jones has made a complete career out of being in Guillermo del Toro's movies, but also being these practical effects creatures. And actually, you can currently see Doug Jones in that new Star Trek show, why am I forgetting the name of it? Explorer, Star Trek, whatever. He's in the new Star Trek series on CBS. He plays like this alien captain, and he's brilliant in it. He's absolutely fantastic in it. So, yes, I completely agree. All right, next one. The next question comes to us from Junkari P, who writes, how is the CGI? Okay, I'll say this. This is what I'll say about the CGI. The CGI is so good that I couldn't tell you when it was CGI and when it wasn't. I mean, there were a few little moments I could tell, oh, that looks like it's something composited, but it's some minor little details. But overall, I don't know how much. This is the biggest compliment I can give to the CG in this movie. I can't tell you how much CG was in it. Even I, somebody who worked in the CGI industry for a while, I'm looking at this movie and I couldn't tell you if that's visual effects or that's visual effects or not, or just practical. And that is the biggest compliment I can give it. So I don't know if Del Toro used hardly any CGI or if he used a modest amount of CGI, but there are very, very few moments in this movie that I can even think of that I even thought was CGI. And that's how good the effects in this thing actually ended up being. Sam Fisher's writing, do you think Doug Jones will get an Oscar nomination? No, I don't think Doug Jones will get an Oscar nomination for this. Mostly because, well, for a lot of reasons. But a lot because, I mean, he doesn't... that might be considered a spoiler. I won't say that. Let's say this. There are an awful lot of very good Best Supporting Actor nominees this year. So no, I don't see him nabbing one of those. He's great as a creature. Absolutely. He plays the part wonderfully. But no, I don't see him getting an Academy Award nomination for this. Let's see. RC is writing in, is this a more graphic Beauty and the Beast? Ooh, that's, you know what? RC, I have not thought of the movie in those terms, but you're actually not far off. This, thematically, at least at any rate, you will see some similarities between Beauty and the Beast. It is a more graphic version of that. I wouldn't say it's a Beauty and the Beast story, but there are certainly similarities, and nobody can blame you if you come out of it drawing some parallels. But overall, I mean, it's certainly, these are two very, very different movies. They are very, very different movies, but it's not far off the way you're drawing those similarities. So yeah, I think you could say that. You wouldn't be completely wrong to say this is a more graphic kind of Beauty and the Beast, but it's certainly one is not completely connected to the other. Alex Gerber wrote in again, I meant to say it was my first time with CinemaScore. No, I get what you're saying. Don't worry. I understand what you're saying, Alex. Don't worry about it. The Uzi408 says, I don't know why you decided to waste your money to tell us a joke, but writes in a joke, what do you call it when Batman skips church? Christian Bale. Ha, love what you do. Thank you so much, the Uzi408. I appreciate that as well. All right, so let me jump over then now to Twitter and see what some people are saying in Twitter. We will start off with Leslie280 writes, John, do you think that the movie has big chances to win an Oscar? Absolutely. This movie is going to get nominated in some of the big categories. You're going to see Sally Hawkins get nominated for Best Actress. I believe you're going to see Guillermo del Toro nominated for Best Director. And I believe very strongly you're going to see The Shape of Water get nominated for Best Picture. So there's going to be a big Oscar presence for this. How many it will win? Who knows? We're not really sure how many awards it will actually win, but it's going to be a very, very big presence. Let's see. This one comes to us from Stephen Fang 16. Says, is The Shape of Water as dark as Pan's or lighter in the story? They're very different films from each other, and both have very dark elements in their own way. If I had to just give a plain and simple thing, I guess I would say that The Shape of Water is a little lighter. I guess I would say that. It feels weird saying that, but I suppose you could say if one you had to say was a little bit darker than the other, I would say Pan's Labyrinth is probably just a little bit darker than The Shape of Water is. But I mean, they're both have some very dark elements and both have some lighter, very emotional, heartfelt elements as well. But I'll say the slightly darker one will go over to say Pan's Labyrinth is slightly darker. This next one comes to us from Holmes or Simpson, who writes, John, this movie really shows Hollywood's double standard. We see tons of female anatomy, but no fish anatomy. Double standard in Hollywood. Put more fish anatomy on the screen. Thanks a lot for the comment. Let's see. This next one comes to us from Tioli Reviews, who writes, John, do you think Shape of Water can get an Oscar nomination, and do you think it's deserved? Well, as I just mentioned in the previous question, I do. I think it's going to get several of the major categories. It's going to get nominated in a couple of the major categories, and probably a couple like makeup, costuming, some other categories like that. I could see The Shape of Water picking up minimum 5 nominations. Minimum 5, maybe even more. We'll have to see. Now, I don't think it's a shoo-in to win necessarily any of them, but I'm thinking we're going to get at least 5 of these things. We go over to this one. This one comes to us from Walls, who writes, John, which is better, The Last Jedi or The Shape of Water? Well, The Last Jedi review embargo lifts tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm going to do, you guys are the first ones to know this, I'm going to do my Last Jedi review live at 9 a.m. That's when the review embargo lifts. In the morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to do it live just like I'm doing this one. I'm kind of using the Shape of Water review as a little bit of a test run actually for the Star Wars one, but I'm going to do it live at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, so I cannot tell you anything about comparisons to this movie to that because there's a review embargo. I want to make sure I don't break that embargo. All right, we have another super chat come in, so I'm just going to jump over here to super chat. Happy writes, did you start... I'm not quite sure what this means. Did you start RN, and what's this movie about? Want to say, love everything you do. Keep up the great work. You're the greatest. Well, make sure you go back and watch the beginning of this video. You're probably jumping in and joining us a little bit late here, Happy. But the movie, I kind of sum it up at the beginning. The movie is wonderful. It's fantastic. And thank you so much for the compliment. I appreciate that. Sam Fisher is writing it out. The name of the show that you can see Doug Jones in, who plays the amphibious creature in this movie, is Star Trek Discovery. He plays First Officer Saru. That's who he plays. I think sometimes he's practical, sometimes he's a little bit CGI. I'm not really sure. There's a good wrap up there to be had. So anyway, guys, that will do it for my review of The Shape of Water. I absolutely adored this film. It's so wonderfully human, which is weird to say about a movie that features this amphibian sort of creature. The performances were magnificent. Sally Hawkins, I believe, is going to get a Best Lead Actress nomination. I believe we're going to see Guillermo del Toro get a Best Director nomination. I believe we're going to see this movie get a Best Picture nomination. It's wonderful all the way around. But listen, have you guys have a chance? I know there have been some select fan screenings around the country. What did you think about The Shape of Water? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Listen, guys, while you're here, we have over 100,000 subscribers now on this YouTube channel, but we have room for tons more. Make sure you click on that subscribe button, become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. Also, make sure you click the thumbs up button, leave a comment below. Make sure you follow me on social media, on Twitter, simply @JohnCampia, which you can see right here. That'll do it for me, guys, for this little video. My name's John Campia, and until the next video, bye-bye.